Absolutely. Well, so you talked about doing this for 45 years. Obviously you were in Gamma Ray before this. You had Tyrant Pace. You sang on some various projects. I know you did like a lot of the backing vocals on the first Scanner album. I mean, you did this for a very long time. And one of the things that I see you talk about periodically on social media, you really preach a lot of positivity, which is great. But one of the things you talk about is every now and then you bring up, hey, you go to the gym, you work out, and health is a very important thing for you. And I've always said, I see like you and I see Tim Ripper Owens going to the gym, sharing photos, and I have to think that as a singer myself, that doing what you're doing is really why you're still able to perform the way that you are. Because I listened to this record, I mean, you could still hit pretty much all the notes that you did before. I listened to Tim sing. He's still just as good as he was 25 years ago. Does that have a big, when you hit the gym, I've always, one of the things they say too is that it's one of the more, it puts you in a great mood. If you're down and bummed out or you're depressed about something, you go in there and you feel better coming out of it. How much has that contributed to your longevity in doing this?
To be very honest, Tony, I don't think it's not linked if you are working out to the singing. I mean, you listen to Freddie Mercury, for instance, or also many other things, Ronnie James Dio and so forth. They were, in my opinion, never worked out really. But what it does is a certain way of discipline. It's what kind of discipline and how much work you put into something you can really compare, right? So I mean, Tim, buddy, he's also working out. We talked about it, and what a nice guy he is anyway. So, and I'm really glad that he's doing this. I like to watch his stories where he's still at it and so forth. I like that. And yeah, it takes a lot of discipline to keep going, because there's so many people start and then, oh my God, it's hard work. Yeah, of course it's hard work, and it's hard work to be a singer as well, on tour, for instance, and this is that's what I always compare a little bit. The more work you put into, the more the result will be positive in the end, right?
Yeah. Well, you guys aren't exactly singing music that's easy on the body either. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, to do what you do on tour, and to sing the way that you guys sing, or a lot of heavy metal singers in general, I mean, it's not easy on the body. I mean, it's pretty, I always used to say that the touring is the hardest on the drummer and the singer. That's pretty much where it goes. But you've done this at such a high level for a very, very long time, and I have to believe that you keeping your body in shape and where it should be, it contributes to that.
It's about health. I mean, I had my phase when I was in the 90s, where I had my rock and roll era as well. So I never say never that I didn't do anything, but
yeah,
you find out on your own if this is good for you or not. And in the long term, of course, it's not. So, and you've got your certain responsibility towards your children, you have your family, and of course towards your body. And I want to live as long as I can, because I love life. I love to be love to be on that stage, and you can only do it if you're healthy, which is not intentionally always. Well, I have to be healthy. It's just a way of, it's a standard of life. It's just given, you know.
Yeah.
So
you talked about the early 90s, and you ended up playing on, singing on the first three Gamma Ray albums. Kai had left Halloween. Talk about, the 90s was kind of a dark era for this kind of music. And what was it like to get together? I'm sure you probably knew Kai Hansen probably earlier than that, but what ended up prompting you to end up singing in Gamma Ray? How did that whole thing come together? And what was that experience like coming up, through the early to mid 90s, singing with that band?
People know each other in the scene, Tony. So, of course, when you hear Halloween, I heard Halloween without Michael when Kai sang on the radio. Also, there was in the South German radio spot at Sunday night at 11, they were allowed to play heavy metal.
Okay.
So you listen to that stuff. And then, of course, we met on the road when Halloween was playing, when we were playing, and then you get in contact with people, and over the years, everybody is almost turning out to be buddies.
Hmm.
And the same thing happened back in the days when I was so happy about the success Halloween has had and have still. So then Michael joined in, and I heard something that they wanted to. Kai didn't want to be really a permanent singer anymore. I heard of that, and there were rumors that there was an application from my side. It was not. It was just heard. They heard my name as well, and they might have negotiated if they want to have me or not. And they asked, and I was still in Tire and Pace back in the days, and you know how it is as a kid starting to make music as a 17, 18 young, 16, 17 young boy. I could
Yeah.
say you want to stick to your buddies and make music with them. So anyway, then it turned out that Kai left Halloween, but before that I already have somehow he has produced a band from Hamburg, and they didn't have a singer, and he invited me to sing that demo. That's how we got in touch more studio wise, working wise.
Yeah.
Everything on tape machine. So and then we got to know each other more personally. And then he left Halloween, and then he had me in mind, and I had in mind why. Oh yeah, maybe we can do something together, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Apologize and apology. And then I drove to Hamburg, and we had this conversation in the first rehearsals. He had some songs together like Money and Heading for Tomorrow and so forth. And we recorded that demo. And then he had a deal anyway. We recorded it for the first album. So that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that time too. I learned so much from Kai as well.
Yeah.
Not only in the studio, also on the road. And you know, it was the first time for me to go to Japan, to play all over Europe. And I never forget these kind of things, because some people forget where they come from and who they are, who they should thank a little bit more to be there where you are. Of course, everybody has his own talent, and everybody can do whatever he is able to do with his talent, but you still have this combination of people sometimes where you are being shipped to the next level. And that was Kai. I learned so many things, you know, so
Yeah.
I'm grateful forever.
You went and actually sang a gig with them, like not long ago, an anniversary gig. What was that like, going back? And it had probably been ages since you sang any of those tracks. So
Yeah.
what was that?
It was 2014, before that pandemic shit. We
Mhm.
were already, they were in Munich, and I said, they called me up, why don't you just come by? And I said, yeah, why not? And then we did One with the World together and Heading for Tomorrow. That was the first thing where Frank was already in the band, which is also a great singer, Frank Beck.
Mhm.
And then we had a good time again. And I was in a good mood, and I had one glass of red wine too much. So I was still on the bus and said, guys, I stay on the bus and drive with you to Czech Republic and do another show there. And then I drove home by train the next day. But that was great, yeah. And then
Yeah.
the idea came up, why don't we do this again, several occasions here and there, as a candy for the fans, and also as for our pleasure in the end. And that's what we did then in the pandemic time. We did this streaming show,
Sure.
which of course we prepared a little bit more with rehearsals and so forth and so forth. Yes.
Yep. 2014, when you went and sang with them, did you already still remember the lyrics? I mean, did you just walk up there and sing One with the World?
You'll listen to it once again, of course, two or three times. But Tony, it is really like it is. The songs you had in the past is so easy to remember.
Yeah.
Which is making it hard for me is the new songs. I remember singing songs in the studio, and then it was right there. And
Yeah.
nowadays, if you sing songs in the studio, you have to listen over and over again, because the brain is also having a little bit more holes.
Yeah.
Or it's not so easy anymore to remember stuff. But hey, we are pros, we have to. And once in a while, I would love to have a sheet or a teleprompter as well when you're missing the vocals out. But I'm trying to be focused and also be professional and try to remember the lyrics.
No, I gotcha. Well, no, I understand. I understand, how that can work. With the gamma ray stuff, I'm sure you sang those tracks so many times that they're just kind of embedded in you. and you just,
True.
it's not hard to remember. You go up on
Exactly.
stage and you're just
When you
like,
do this an entire tour, like 30 or 50 shows,
yeah.
it's there.
Hey everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video, and if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.